Well, welcome to the kickoff event for the V2 Pitch Competition for 2015. This is a really exciting time for us. We've been building up to it actually since September. Some folks in the room may have gone to the Legacy Entrepreneurship Conference in October. How many people went to that? Anybody? Good, okay. All right, so that's our coaching, mentoring, inspiration event to get people started thinking about their ventures. And if you had something kicking around or if you've got a venture that's in progress, this is to get that going and see if we can accelerate your process of moving your venture toward funding and toward launch. So I'm going to tell you about some dates, the structure of the V2 Pitch Competition, give you an introduction to what the next couple of months are going to look like leading up to the competition, then hand it off to Regina, who directs the competition for me. And then she'll walk you through our website, show you what's going on there. Newly redesigned website, we're very proud of it. We have a Facebook page as well that she'll tell you about, and then we'll show you some video from last year's competition to kind of get your excitement going. So the idea of the V2 Pitch Competition is a change from when I first got here. I'm now in the middle of my 4th year at USD. When I arrived here, there was a business plan competition, and there was a requirement that you had to take a course to be in the business plan competition. So it was very restrictive, very closed. And my idea was, let's open this up not only to business students who haven't taken the course, but to people across campus. So the only requirement right now for you to enter this V2 Pitch Competition is to be a student at the university or to be on a team with a student at the university. That's all it's required. And we're very proud that in the past couple of years we've had participation from SOLS, from international relations, from engineering, as well as the business school. So this is definitely inclusive across campus. The competition itself is a unique design with 5 or so features that I want to tell you about. I think they make us unique. They separate us from other competitions out there. And I think both hit the founding, funding, sponsoring part of launching a business and our educational mission as a university. So the first thing to think about is that all of the judging, and I don't even use the word, but I don't have a better one, all of the judging is done not by professors or Qualcomm executives, but by real angel investors. People who are making these investment decisions on an ongoing basis. That's how they're contributing and adding to their wealth. And I think you can mute that. Yeah. So these are real people who are going to use their investment criteria to evaluate your pitch and your proposal. There are 2 stages to that evaluation process. Last year, in a pattern that's continued since I first got here 3 years ago, we doubled from the year before the number of entrants. So we had about 75 entrants last year. That gets narrowed down to 4 finalists who actually get to pitch in front of a panel of investors on V2 competition night. So how do we go from 75 to 4 with a panel of angel investors? So actually, the people who make it to the finals will have gone through 2 screenings by real angel investors. I'll walk you through the dates in a minute. Let me just give you the outline of what's going on. So everyone submits a 10-slide, we call it a pitch deck. It's a PowerPoint file or a Prezi file, 10 slides. That's what you get to present on V2 night. The first screening is based on the file itself. So you're going to submit an annotated file. If it's PowerPoint, I'm not sure how you do it in Prezi, but if it's in PowerPoint, you can annotate your slide with your speaking notes at the bottom. That's what you would submit. So this is going to be your way of getting through that first screening from 75 to 4, maybe even more this year than 75, we'll see. A panel of 3 to 4 angel investors will meet with me and pick out the 4 finalists. And then those ones will get ready for the pitch competition on April 23rd. The competition itself, what do you get to present? The 10 slides. And by the way, they don't have to be the same 10 slides in the pitch deck that you initially entered. You get feedback, or if you've thought about it more, you're free to make updates until you pitch. That's okay with us. You get 7 minutes of platform time. And usually, the format is such that the investors don't ask questions during the pitch. That's just the way it's played out. So this is the 4th time we're doing this, and nobody's asked a question yet. I don't tell them don't ask questions, but they typically don't. All right, so that's the submission, the content of what you submit, your deliverable, okay? So the annotated pitch deck, 10 slides, screened out on V2 night, 7 minutes of platform time and 10 slides to present. Now, the competition itself is interesting and unique. So first thing I've noted, you will pitch, the finalists will pitch to a panel of 3 actual angel investors on the stage of the IPJ. On the stage of the IPJ. Each of the 4 finalist ventures will pitch in turn. Then we adjourn and we have something that looks like a speed networking part of the evening. We separate each of the investors spatially around the IPJ, the breakout ballrooms on the side, on the left as you come in. And each of the finalists gets 10 minutes with each of the individual investors. So altogether, 3 investors, 10 minutes each, plus 7 minutes of platform time, you'll have 37 minutes in front of investors on V2 evening if you're a finalist. And we think that that's the portion where they actually kind of kick the tires on your venture, ask you questions, see the depth of your thinking, see if you thought through all their key questions that they're going to ask. We reconvene in the IPJ auditorium after the investors have kind of thought about what they're doing, and there's the announcement of the allocation of the fund. A couple of things about the fund. One is that last year and this year both, there's $50,000 available to our students. It's not a tournament. There's no first, second, and third prize with an amount of money attached to it. The investors decide where to allocate the $50,000 according to their judgment, as if this was a pitch night at Tech Coast Angels or Angel Ventures Mexico, some other real situation. And this has ended up with a very...
You might want to clarify also with the $100,000 why it's there.
Okay, I'll talk. All right. Before I get into the mechanics of it. So in 2014, we realized part of the university's mission, which is to be international and to be regional. And we did that by introducing a binational track. So in addition to what I've described to you already, which is 4 finalists from among USD students competing for $50,000, there's another track, we call it binational, and it will involve 4 finalists typically from Mexican universities, from Baja, who will come across the border, and they will have gone through a selection process there, and they will pitch as well. So if you imagine the stage of the IPJ, there'll be a table and a panel of 3 USD angel investors and a panel of 3 investors who are familiar with the Mexican market. So there's $50,000 in prize money for USD students and $50,000 for the Mexican students, and that's how we get to $100,000. The process of allocating the funds now, like I said, first of all, this is a grant. There's no equity involved. There's no claim on returns from your venture. It's basically free money. Like I said, it's not a tournament, so it's allocated according to the judgment of the investors as if they were allocating an investment fund. And that's ended up with kind of interesting results in the last 2 years. So I've mentioned that the prize money has kept increasing. I think $50,000 enough. We're not going to try to go to $100,000 this year. But we went to $50,000 in April 2014. We'll have $50,000 in April 2015 as well. That money, so in 2013, there was only $25,000 available, only. $25,000 available. 1 team out of the 4 won 15 out of the 25, and the other 3 teams divided 10. That's what the investors decided. In 2014, there was $50,000 available. 1 team claimed $40,000. Okay, so if you can imagine what you could do with $40,000 with your venture now, this is a game changer. This is a way of really making a hire or having somebody do code development for you or doing some marketing that's unavailable to you. We don't know how it's going to get allocated in 2015, obviously, but $50,000 at stake in this non-tournament investment fund format. So we also recognize, though, that there's an educational value to what we're doing. We're not here simply to launch businesses. We're also here to educate. And we noticed that winning in the V2 pitch competition is not the only path to success for your ventures. So you may not be a finalist. There were 71 ventures proposed last year that didn't make it to the final. So we offered an innovation that we're also very proud of. It's a poster session that occurs before the pitch competition starts the evening off on V2 night, and we invite non-finalists to present their venture in the plaza right in front of the IPJ. So we set up there, we have tables, people set up a PowerPoint on their laptop. We had a couple of t-shirt companies that brought in a rack of t-shirts. People just put up a poster board and lay out their business. But there's an opportunity to present your business and to the audience, which includes other students, but also investors. So there are people who are there to evaluate the pitches, but there are also investors who come just to see if there's any deal flow here. So there's another opportunity to get exposure to investment money, even if you're not a finalist. So the poster session to kick things off, we have a keynote address. We've had great keynote addresses for the last couple of years. 35 minutes of keynote. Then we get into the pitches, 4 on the USD side, 4 on the Mexico side, the binational track. We break out into the Q&A session with the investors. We come back and have the investors kind of confer, decide how to allocate the fund. We make the announcements, and then that ends the evening. Oh, one other thing. For the non-finalists, there's kind of a people's prize. So people will actually vote on the best non-finalist pitch, and there is a grant of in-kind marketing and online consulting that's available from a consulting company that gives us a prize money. Do you remember how much that was worth last year? So it's about $5,000 in marketing expertise and consulting that's available for the best non-finalist in the poster session before the contest starts. Okay. So let me give you some dates and help you with your planning, and then I'll take some questions, and then I'll introduce Regina. So starting today, think about these dates. So the 23rd of April is V2 night. We back up from that to the 9th of April, which is the pitch deck deadline. And Regina will give you instructions about how to do that. It'll be through our website. By the way, this is running from usdentrepreneurshiponeword.com. On the 14th, so 5 days after the deadline, finalists are announced. On the 16th of April, there is a coaching session that's an innovation that we're very proud of. So this is mandatory for finalists, but it's open to everyone as audience. Who knows about Jayla Siciliano and Bonafere? Okay, a lot of people do. We have 2 alums from the University of San Diego who have gone on to Shark Tank to win funding. Actually, it turns out both from Mark Cuban. One is a venture called Tower Paddleboards. Stefan Arstol is an MBA graduate from, I guess, about 10 years ago now. Jayla is an MBA graduate from 3 years ago now. She has started a wine cooler company. So people sometimes mix wine with like soda, seltzer water, to make a wine spritzer, it's called. Well, she does that pre-bottled, and she won funding from Mark Cuban on Shark Tank. She's gone on to raise, I want to say, about $500,000, maybe more than that by now. Launched her company. She's in Whole Foods and a number of other stores. She's doing great. She brings her advisory board with her to campus to coach the finalists between when the finalists are announced and the competition. So you kind of get a bonus counseling and coaching session in there with Jayla's advisors. That, once again, it's mandatory if you're a finalist, and it's open if you simply want to hear what an advisory board from a successful new venture sounds like. Oh, right. Okay, it's not right. It's not open to the public. It's open to if you've entered. So whether or not you're a finalist, if you have a pitch deck submitted, you're welcome to join that coaching session. That's good.
And actually pitch and actually get some feedback.
Pitch and get feedback, right? Okay, so what am I leaving out? March 13th.
Regina, the website says March 12th for the coaching. Sorry, it's March 12th. You're right, March 12th. Thank you.
I just write what she tells me. Okay, so March 12th. So the idea here is that I, on the 12th, will walk you through building a pitch deck. Hopefully you'll have thought it through before. You've gone to our website and seen some pitches, but I'll lay out what a pitch deck ought to do. And here, just a hint about the message. A lot of entrepreneurs, first time pitching or very early in the development of their ventures, think that taking a business plan and pressing it into 10 slides is what their job is. It's not. Do not make the mistake of trying to deliver your business plan in 7 minutes and 10 slides. It's not only not compressing it, that's the wrong attitude to have. You should be thinking about selling. So I will distribute a PowerPoint file that tells you how to build a pitch deck and what should go into it. And one of the first slides says, sell, don't tell. You're not just telling about your business, you're convincing an investor, first of all, to pay attention to you, and second of all, to have confidence in you. One of our alumni, a JD MBA alumni of USD, a guy named Naveed Alipur, is an angel investor right now. He's told me that he potentially sees, he ignores most of them, but he could potentially sees 1,000 pitches a year. Okay. So divide that into 50 work weeks, and that would be his whole life, just reading through pitches. So obviously, the first thing you need to do is to get an investor to say, why should I pay attention to you instead of the other 999 pitches that come across my desk or that I potentially can look at? Get emailed to me, get pitched to me on pitch nights and so forth. So first thing is to get their attention. Second is to build their confidence that you, in 7 minutes and 10 slides, that you actually can make this happen. And that amounts to two things. One is your venture model, a business model for a new venture. So do you have a convincing description of your product? Can I visualize how you can create value for your customers and how you're going to differentiate? Can I visualize you building it? Do you have a prototype? Do you have diagrams? Have you built something and actually sold it? Okay? So the venture model is one part of it, and then the second part is your management team. So is there something about your team or your advisory board? And this is important for us, early starting out as entrepreneurs. Most of the people in this room, I'm guessing, a few might, but most of the people don't have an experience of launching a successful business yet. This might be your first time. What investors look for is success in the past. You don't have it. But you can talk about your credentials very quickly. Here's the skill set that I have. Here's the experience that I do have. And if you have an advisory board, so someone who can reflect credibility on you, that's really good. So venture model, management team, sell, don't tell. Those are kind of the key starting points for building your pitch deck. And on March 12th, I'll walk you through that. You're going to see a video in a minute of a successful pitch at 2014 V2. We'll walk you through that and the mechanics of it, analyze it, and hopefully build your skill set at making a really strong presentation, both through your pitch deck for the initial screening and if you're a finalist on V2 night. What am I leaving out of mechanics? Okay, let me take questions for a few minutes. Then I'll turn it over to Regina. She'll walk you through our website and our Facebook page too. Okay, all right, and then I'll just finish up. So what haven't I covered that's important? Where have I left out gaps? What can I clarify? Product or service, right?
Aside from the pitch coaching, what other resources are going to be available to help us out?
That's a great question. We have part of the background. Again, think about this as a process. We start in September. We have the Legacy Entrepreneurship Conference to get you thinking about this. All during the term, we have a number of coaches, entrepreneurs or investors who are they're either alumni or very interested in USD, and we connect them. So if you come to me or Regina and you say, I've got a question about building a pitch deck or my financial structure, we will connect you with a coach who will help you out.
So is it the student who has to conduct the pitch, or if I have a team member that's not, hypothetically, that's not part of the person, can they pitch the whole thing, or what's kind of the limit of that? If I'm not a good sales guy, I gotta bring in.
Yeah, I don't think we want non-attorney spokespersons that you hired from some. That's a joke. I've not thought of that before. I'll have to think that over. Yeah, let me get back to you on that. We've had joint presentations, but I can't remember a pitch where a student has at least participated, if not done the whole pitch. So I don't know. I'll have to think that one over. Yeah.
So you said the group has to contain at least one USD student?
Yes.
Is there like an age requirement on the other people that are part of that group?
Nope. No, and actually we've had, I think 2013, we had a medical device that was pitched. So it was one student from Souls. We had one student from Souls and then a couple of MDs who were part of the team. And that's another issue. I said this is really inclusive, so I invite people from schools all across campus, not necessarily business students, and there's no limit on undergraduate or graduate and so forth. So everyone's in the same pool competing for that 50,000. Yeah. Can you see some? Yeah, absolutely. We're going to show you one now, and we're going to point you to where you can look at more. We've actually, we use just about everything we create. We just record the heck out of everything. So the individual meetings, remember the one-on-one meetings with the investors? Those 10-minute meetings are all recorded. The pitches are all recorded. And there are coaching sessions. There are the keynote speakers, as I said. Andy Lotz, who started Nixon Watches, he was just here a week ago or so. Anybody see Andy while he was here? Yeah. So great speaker, inspirational, cool, great. I'm so glad it's on video. See that speech. See his keynote address. All those keynote speeches are recorded. So just about everything is available to you that we've done so far. Even actually the introduction to the pitch deck, how to do a pitch deck, there's actually a recording of my having done that in the past too, so you can actually see it in advance of getting it live on the 12th. So when I created the V2 pitch competition, I thought about getting people to move away from a business plan and think about a pitch instead. That was a key idea. Second is to get this far and to encourage people without putting the burden on them of creating a 50 or 60-page document that had to be submitted before you could even get into the competition. So 10 slides is actually pretty easy to do, except they have to be really power-packed slides that hit the right points very succinctly. So it's a lot of craft instead of a lot of volume in comparison with a business plan. The other thing that just came up in what Regina's saying is unanticipated, but I think great value, is that winning and even participating in the V2 pitch competition has become a credential. So remember what I said before about having an advisory board where you don't have experience but other people do who are helping you out? V2 has worked that way. So the fact that Alumnify and On My Block have been able to raise a lot of angel investor money after graduating from USD, part of the reason they've been able to do that is that they can reflect on and refer to their success in our competition. So I think there's a nice benefit there that's kind of non-cash, but still valuable to you.
Hello, everybody. My name is AJ Agarwal, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Alumnify. And I want to start out just by asking you all a question. How many of you have ever received an email asking you for money? Right? And how many of you have ever received a cold call asking you for money? Right? So have I. So I know firsthand just how awful the experience is. It is one of the worst ways you could ever try to build a meaningful relationship with another person. Unfortunately, emails, cold calls, and snail mail are the main ways that universities are engaging their alumni today. And the results have been horrific. Alumni participation is at an all-time low 9% in this country. Imagine if this auditorium was filled with 250 USD students. When they all graduated, only 23 would actually give back. It's pretty scary. So we wanted to develop a solution that would allow universities to be able to engage their alumni in meaningful ways and help save alumni directors across the nation. We started by going through 2 months of customer discovery. We cold called 850 universities and interviewed 250 alumni. And what we found out was that universities still have not adjusted their methods of engagement specifically to the millennial generation of alumni. When you graduate in today's market, you're going to go through 7 career changes on average. So there's a good chance you're going to move away from your school. And what we discovered was that when alumni moved away from their school, they lost that sense of community that they once had because it becomes much harder to meet other alumni, and there are less alumni events to go to. So we knew we had to design our solution in a way that allowed alumni to take their university community with them wherever they went. We started by building a simple prototype that allowed our users to sign in through LinkedIn. From there, we could pull their major, graduation year, things that they're involved in on campus, and their profession. We could then use that information to pair them up with similar alumni in their area. And then once they connected, we could offer suggestions in terms of alumni events or coffee shops that they could meet face-to-face. What we kept hearing through feedback from universities and graduates was that these Facebook and LinkedIn pages for alumni weren't resulting in meaningful connections. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Now imagine if I tried to use LinkedIn to make a new connection and then ask them to grab a cup of coffee with me. First, I would have to use this advanced search feature and put in all my criteria and look through all these profiles. Then, I would have to send requests to all those people and hope that they would accept that request coming from a random person. And then finally, I would have to ask them to grab a cup of coffee with me. Some people are going to think I'm a little creepy. A lot of people are going to say no, and if I'm lucky, maybe a few say yes. But the chances of that happening are very unlikely, and most people don't want to go through that process. So with Alumnify, we totally decided to streamline it. On our platform, as soon as you sign in, you're given a stack of user profiles. You can either press a handshake or an X button, and when 2 users press that handshake button, they're brought into contact. So you know when you connect with somebody, they already want to meet you in person. They're already in your same area, and they have a similarity to you, whether it's in their profession or their education. And that makes the process much easier and a lot easier to foster those relationships. So as we're testing out this solution, it ends up in the hands of one of the largest donors at the University of South Carolina. He likes it so much, he gets us a meeting with the head of alumni relations. And we explained to him that by getting these alumni engaged early on, we could increase the chances that they would donate money. And that donation would start to serve as a benchmark, and that would increase every time. So over a lifetime, that would create a life cycle of giving. In addition, by increasing the number of donors, we could also help boost school rank. School rank is based in part by the number of donors who give, not the donation amount. So even an alumni leaving $5 helps boost school rank. After explaining this to South Carolina, they gave us a call 3 days later and asked to be added to our beta client list. The following week, we added 3 more schools. And in the span of 2 months, we went from 0 to 8 university clients. And the great thing about our platform is the fact that our clients are also our marketing partners. Each university that we team up with is required to send an email and social media blast to their entire database of alumni. So right now, our app is being reviewed. Once we launch next week in the App Store, in the first 60 days, over 700,000 alumni will be invited to our platform, and we pay nothing for that marketing. Our revenue model is straightforward. We charge universities anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 to use our platform. For the first 6 months, our universities are on a trial period. After that trial period, those annual fees will take effect. Second, we allow alumni to donate back to their schools right through Alumnify, and we take an 8% transaction from every donation. Our team is built of people who specialize in design, business, and technology. We have people who've graduated from top coding boot camps in Silicon Valley and alumni from Techstars affiliated accelerator programs. But what's brought us together is our passion to create an alumni network that can expand across the globe. We've had an amazing journey so far. We started doing 1,100 customer interviews, and that led us to get into the T-6 accelerator program. From there, we added the University of South Carolina and 7 more clients. Now we're 1 week away from launch, And in the next 60 days, over 700,000 alumni will be invited to our platform. We've been able to build our product, build early traction, and now we're ready to revolutionize this market. Thank you so much.
This is the start of what we're going to do on March 12th. It's to show videos, to coach you, to walk you through the elements in the pitches, and to talk about how you can shape your own pitch. So it's not cookie cutter. I mean, yours will look different from AJ's, but the elements are there. There's an opening that gets attention. There's a clear description of the product. You're not wondering, how does this work? What does it do? You understand kind of what he's talking about. Then that's the mechanics part of it. Then the other part of it is, how does it create value? Where's the revenue stream going to come from? He talks about that. Then he talks about his management team. He talks about what they need. We call it ask and uses. How much are you asking for? What are you going to use it for? That's all clearly laid out. And then the follow-up would be in the meetings later, and there's also video of that where you can see the individual investors talking with these guys and getting deeper into, kind of drilling down into the details of their venture model. Rajiv is going to show you where you can find my PowerPoint having to do with building a pitch deck. Any questions or observations about AJ's presentation? He had 7 minutes and 10 slides. That's the format that I told you about before. Okay, that's it. Any other questions or comments? Anything to help you get going? No, and that's a great question. In a real situation, honestly, asking for an NDA from an investor, first of all, they won't give it to you. And second, it's a sign of naivete.
But you have an audience, though.
Right. So that's, yeah. So either you have some IP protection or you count on some other part of what you're doing to protect it. Or, yeah. Anything else? Okay, we're available. You have our contact information. You have the website. See you at all these events and at V2 Pitch on April 23rd. Thank you.